let's be honest here. I'm pretty sure that we wasted money at least one time in our life. We wasted money at least one time in our life, and I'm pretty sure you probably wasted money around you were young. I'm just saying. And like I said, I wasted money too. But this movie, when I saw it, it's just kind of like a dry and juicy meter for the movies. So yeah, I just want to pull that out. And it's the movie that's called The Exorcist Believer. Now, I'm not really like a big fan of like demonic possession movies, all that kind of stuff. I mean, The Exorcist was pretty good. A lot of movies say that. A lot of people say that it's like the scariest horror movie alive. And obviously, I wasn't born when that happened. I was born like 30 years after when the movie came out. So yeah, and basically, a lot of people say that The Exorcist, one is the scariest movie alive, all that kind of stuff. I liked The Exorcist. I thought it was pretty good, but I can definitely understand why people were scared of it. Obviously, even though I wasn't even born around that time, not even close. But yeah, I just don't think it's the scariest movie alive. But after watching The Exorcist Believer, oh boy, I think The Exorcist One is definitely the scariest movie alive. Compared to that movie, yeah, that's the scariest movie alive. And before I get to the movie, I mean no hate to the actors at all. I think some of the actors or actors actually did pretty well on their performance. Like the demon girls, I think when they got like possessed or the voices coming out, all that kind of stuff. I actually do think that for the most part the acting is well. I'd say the acting is decent, and the camera work is also pretty good. But then again, it's a 2023 movie. The camera's work is like the most common thing that's a good part. So yeah, I guess that counts. I guess I'm not sure, but yeah. But this movie, all right. Trust me, I've watched a lot of generic horror movies. Not just generic horror movies, just generic movies in general. Generic comic book movies. It's coming from a big comic book fan and coming from a big horror fan. I like Friday the 13th. I love the Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play, Halloween, all that kind of stuff. I'm a really big horror film fan, especially with Ghostface. I think Ghostface is one of my favorite horror icons. So, I also love comic books. Comic book they're like Batman, Superman, Spider Man, Daredevil, Iron Man, Captain America. Just a lot of things that I like about comic books and horror movies. But this is by far, by a landslide, the most generic, literally the most generic plain horror movie one of the most generic horror movies I ever seen. Like, holy shit, it is so generic. Like, The Nun too was pretty generic, but at least it had like some cool visuals here and there and kind of stuff. The Exorcist Believer is so generic that I honestly got bored watching it. I'll be straight honest with you. Like, that movie was so boring and predictable that I literally got bored. I'll be completely honest with you. I literally got bored. And like, I just not really something to say because even with generic movies, I still think like there's like a bit of entertainment and then like Black Adam. I know it's not a horror movie, I know, but at least Black Adam, despite me not being a huge big fan of Black Adam, at least the movie is like somewhat fun. I mean, I don't really like Black Adam that much, but at least like Doctor Fate was pretty cool, Hawkman, all that kind of stuff. In this movie, like everything's predictable. Everything is predictable. Generic jump scares. Went to a room, jump scare, and then like bam, like it's literally just the same thing. Like I don't really understand. Like it's just so generic. I really don't understand how plain, predictable, and generic this movie could really be. It's to the point where even this movie makes generic more of the generic movies even look more good in comparison. This movie likes The Exorcist more, and I wasn't even really a big fan of The Exorcist because obviously what I just stated previously, I was not even alive back then. So like the fact that literally like this movie, I believe this movie is like a legacy sequel to the original one. Like the fact that it just takes place, it really just with the first one that wow, I didn't grow up with it. It had cool stuff in it, like the jump scares, like the freaking like walking on four legs. It had iconic movements. This movie right here, walk to a room, jump scare, same thing over and over again. Like I feel like just movies or nowadays are just so like generic. I really do feel like movies nowadays, at least most horror movie nowadays, are just like really just like generic. And I really do hope that this Five Nights at Freddy's movie really does like at least do something for me. Cause at least with the even though Five Nights at Freddy's movie is PG-13, at least we have some cool moments, all that kind of stuff. And plus, I agree with the Five Nights at Freddy's games, all that kind of stuff. And like, yeah, I just really don't understand. I really understand what their purpose was in this movie. It would just feel like another like January, February horror movie. And you guys already know the January, February movies are not pretty good. They're not good at all. They're bad. So yeah, overall, I just the fact that like I because the last Try to Juicy Me video that I made was on Saw X, and I actually thought that movie was actually really good. It was actually my favorite Saw movie. But now back to the spooky, generic, predictable horror movies like The Exorcist Believer. Like I said, I really just didn't like this movie at all. It's not terrible. It's not dog shit or anything like that. It's really just a generic, watered down version of The Exorcist. So overall, would do you think that you should watch this movie? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. If you want to go waste your money, I guess. Just kidding. You can go down there review it. But seriously, I really just I'm not really a big fan of this movie. I really don't like it. It's another okay, a generic horror movie. I've said generic a lot in this video. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the my video of the Exorcist Believer. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.